There we go. Damn it, I like it. Hello everybody and welcome back to s.c.aviation. Today I have some great news. X-Plane has added the Airbus A330-300 to their mobile fleet. This is so awesome. We're gonna go ahead and test the airplane today. So we have the A330 in some nice liveries: the Virgin Atlantic livery, Swiss livery, Lufthansa, New, Cathay Pacific, Air Canada, some America here, Air Asia, old Lufthansa, and that's all. I'm missing some liveries from, you know, more American stuff, maybe South America or maybe, you know, Middle East, but Air Asia will make it. We're gonna fly to the Air Canada livery as it's the one I like the most. And let's look at the weights. We have the same, the same interface. And today we're gonna fly at Toronto to show the airplane. So let's spawn in right here at gate 138 at Lister B. What's the name of the airport? Pearson International. Time of day, it's gonna be about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And let's fly. Alright, so guys, this is the first thing you're gonna love about the A330. Look at the amount of movable buttons and switches all over the cockpit. This is great. After the A320 that X-Plane had us used to, this is a huge change in the Airbus family in X-Plane, and we are very excited for this. Now I'm gonna try and see if this works. If it works like it should in real life, so let's go ahead and test it. Let's connect the ground services here. I haven't flown X-Plane in a while, like a very long while. I was flying a lot of infinite flight. But anyway, so I still remember how to fly X-Plane. We should have ground power over here. Okay, that works. And let's see if the switches work. So let's turn off the IR. Oh, that works. This is gonna go nav, and then we should have a message that says ADIRS on battery. We didn't have it, but anyway. This works. Flight controls, this works. Oh my god, this is so cool, everything is working. The ground proximity warning system, cruise supply, and then let's go on with the hydraulics. This is all working. I don't know why X-Plane put all this into off. I mean, in Airbus, the cold and dark position doesn't mean that everything is in the off position, unlike in Boeing aircraft. But all this seems to be working pretty well. The switches are working, everything looks fine. The ones that have covers are working. Emergency exit lights. This light should go off when I press ARM, and it indeed goes off. That is good. Seat belts. No smoking. Nav and logo. This is working. Let's turn on the APU, and when we tap start, it should start starting, and then when it's available, it should say AVL or available. Let's see if that happens. Over on this side, flight controls panel. All this is working. X-Plane seems to have done a very good job here. Oh, there we go, with the on battery message for the ADIRS. That is very realistic of you, X-Plane guys. Congratulations. Our APU is not starting for some reason. Oh, actually it is. Look at that. Yeah, it is. Great. Now, moving on from the overhead panel, which seems to be working very well, let's look at the autopilot, or the FCU, the flight control unit. Well, this seems to be very well modeled. If we take a look at the navigation display, the terrain navigation display works. The different modes of it work. The ranges work. The constraints, waypoint, VOR, NDV, airport, and VOR or ADF or off. Flight director also works, and LS, which stands for landing system. We have the both options of inches and hectopascals for the altimeter setting, which is great. We have auto brake, max, low, and medium. We have the brake fan, which indeed works. I've tried landing very hard, and so the brakes get hot, and the brake fan does work. And one thing that I really like about the A330 is that they modeled the different center display options such as the engine, bleed pressure, electric, hydraulic, fuel, flight controls, wheel, door, air conditioning, APU. I mean, this is great. I mean, we were not used to this by X-Plane, because they had shown us from the 737 and from the A320 that they were doing great stuff, but with lots of bugs, and that only about 70% of the cockpits were functional. But with this airplane, they are changing that totally, and that absolutely changes my mind about X-Plane. So if any X-Plane guy is seeing this, let me congratulate you, because you have done such a great work with this airplane. One thing that obviously we do not like is that the resolution of the cockpit is not that good, but well, some people care about that, but what's the problem? I mean, if the switches work, you don't have to see everything perfectly. And that also helps with the fact that we have to run the simulator on an iPad, not on a desktop computer. So you can't have like what you would have in Microsoft Flight Simulator. But still, we have some pretty good outside graphics. I mean, look at that. We even have the sound of the APU right there. And the navigation lights work. You can see those green lights on one wing and red lights on the other. So I really like that. Now let's go ahead and see if we can set up the airplane for takeoff, taxi, and takeoff in a very realistic way. So the way I would do that is first check in the overhead panel that everything is set up, and it is indeed set up. So now I'm gonna go to the MCDU and see how good that works. So this indeed is the init page for the MCDU right after you have started the airplane. And so if we go to init, we should have this page. That is correct. So let's do now a flight from Toronto to Toronto. So yeah, Charlie Yankee Yankee Zulu to Charlie Yankee Yankee Zulu. And ooh, what happened right there? It accepted it. That's great. Flight number is going to be Air Canada 123. This is nice. Cruising flight level, let's do 5,000 for today. And it's all working good. Thank you, X-Plane. You're doing a great job. Now, in the real airplane, or at least in most Airbus simulators, I'm not sure if this is the real airplane, when you tap on the button next to a field that is in orange, it should automatically fill up. So if I do that, I should get it on the scratch pad, which I am, and it just fills up. That is great. And then block 109.2, and that should match our block fuel on the airplane, 109.2. That is absolutely fantastic, just like Mentor Pilot says. If you do not know his channel, I really recommend it. Anyway, let's continue with this. Our routing is simply gonna be a takeoff from Toronto, departure via the closest runway. We're not flying with real weather here, so we do not need to take care about the wind or something. So I'm just gonna choose the closest runway to the airport. Take in mind, I'm not doing this in a very realistic way, because if I was, I should be taking the charts out and saying if the runway is suitable for us, if it is permitted, and so on. But this is just an example, so I'm not taking all that information into account. So takeoff runway is going to be 33 right, and the airplane is accepting it. That is great. The departure is going to be, I don't know Toronto, so it's going to be any departure really. Let's select the DASM 3 departure and insert that, and that is working. It says unavailable cruising altitude. It's a very low cruising altitude, but doesn't matter. And we will take care about the landing later, but for now this is working pretty well. I mean, if any real Airbus pilot is saying this, correct me please if this is not working like it should in the real aircraft. I mean, maybe some little things are not to match the reality, but so far everything looks pretty well. Let's now go on with the takeoff performance calculation. So it's going to be a flaps 1 takeoff, flex takeoff temperature of 30 degrees, which is a more or less standard flex takeoff temperature. All of this changes for every flight. And one thing that I do have to mention is that the airplane won't calculate the takeoff speeds automatically for you, but you can select them. Let's say 140 for B1, 141 for B2, for BR, sorry, and 142 for B2. But one thing that the airplane will do is that it will put them right here in your primary flight display, just like it happens in the real aircraft, and that is also great. So the MCDU seems to be working pretty well. Some pages are not working, such as the ATC menu, but well, that makes sense since X-Plane doesn't simulate any ATC. But we do have the radio nav, flight plan, airports, progress, performance. This is so cool. Let's select another cruising altitude because it's not accepting 5,000. Let's select 10,000. Unavailable cruising altitude. Okay, what about 30,000 feet? Will you accept that? Oh, come on. Unavailable. Anyway, we will see in a later time if that is a bug or if it indeed is not being accepted as a cruising altitude. But that's not important for today since we're not planning a real A to B flight. That said, and since the APU is started, let's now push back and see what happens. But before that, let me set up the FCU here. So we're gonna climb to 5,000 on managed speed and managed lateral mode. And let's put constraints here on the map and VOR1 and VOR2 and flight director. Good. So since we're gonna push back, I'm gonna turn on the APU bleed because the engines will need that air to start, and turn on the beacon light, and we'll call the pushback truck. So push to the right. And let's see what happens. In the meantime, look at that outside. The ground surfaces work pretty well. They look beautiful. The airplane itself is beautiful. This is so cool. Can I see the pilots in the cockpit? No, they didn't model that. And the engines are moving. I wonder if that is due to wind, because I haven't started the engines and there is no wind. So maybe it's sort of simulating that rotation by default. But they should not be moving. Anyways, oh, I selected 4,900 instead of 5,000. Now, one other cool thing that works is the steps between 1,000 and hundreds. That is pretty cool because sometimes you don't need to select 4,000 or 5,000 or round numbers, but instead something like 4,500 or 2,200, mostly for ILS approaches. And they simulated that, which is very cool. Now, another cool aspect, what happened with my pushback truck, is that you can select different stuff between the captains and the first officers. So, for example, the first officer doesn't want to have terrain on navigation display, so he doesn't click on the button and it doesn't appear. But if the captain does, he clicks on the button and he does have terrain. So that is one very cool thing. They independized the captains and the first officer side, which is also very realistic. This is all realisticness. Now let's move over to the TCAS. What's happening with my pushback? We should have here the standby TI RA modes, and this is the all, this is the below I think, and this is the above. That means that we will only get traffic alerts and resolution advisories from traffic that is anyway near the aircraft or just above or just below. And then this is the TCAS mode, thread all above below. And this works, and we can select a new transponder code. Yes, we can. That is great. Let's go. Okay, push cart is on it. There you go. So we just have to wait a little time for the truck to come by. What else? North reference. This is working. We can select between through and magnetic reference. This is so cool. Obviously this panel is not working. That's mostly because it is used for ATC. ECAM switching, that's not working. What else we have here? Predictive wind shear system. I can simply turn on the weather radar on or off. We can later check if the weather radar works. Until then, there comes our push truck. So now let's see how the airplane behaves for engine start. So that said, my beacon is on, so I can start the engines. APU is on, and APU bleed is on. So let's see what happens. Engines go to ignition start, engine to start. Okay, PSI is rising, N3 is rising. That is, I don't know about the exact procedure for Airbus, but it seems to be good. We have ignition on the ECAM, APU bleed is on. We have N1 rising, N2, Vibrations in 2 and in 3. The start seems to be going pretty well. Let's take a look from the outside. That is a weird sound. But the engine is starting. Landing gear gravity extension, there you go. Let me raise up the volume a little bit, just like a little, very little bit here. Just like that. Cool. And so let's now go with engine number 2. Engine number 1, sorry. You can hear the engine right there starting. The start seems to be going pretty well. Let's stop the pushback right here, set the parking brakes. Cabin is ready, and engine number 1 seems to be starting very well. What is this weird sound? That is not correct. What happened? Explain there. Anyway. So, engine number 1 and engine number 2 have started. Yes, they have started, so we can now go ignition to normal. And let's select flaps 1 for takeoff. And let's shut down the APU. Oh, I just did something. This should be right in the middle. There you go. And so APU is off. Taxi, that's gonna go off, on, wing light, runway turn off light. And something just happened with the sound, guys. Oh no, explain, you were doing it so good. Maybe my sound is too low. There you go. I'll just put it around here. That is a good engine sound. That is way better. Okay, so explain, I just forget what I just said. So we have good engine start on both engines, and taxi lights have been turned on. Seatbelts are on. The overhead panel is set. Let's see if we will have the takeoff checklist here on the ecom later. But for now, let's just taxi to the runway. That sounds pretty weird, but the airplane is moving. Well, it seems to be working pretty well. Even the cockpit lock switch works. Look at that. That is so fun. I mean, that is so cute. Oh, I love it. I love it. Anyway, so let's continue our takeoff. Sorry, our taxi. The side stick moves so nicely. Look at that. And so let's do an outside view. Maybe a little more sound. That. Yeah, that is way better. And we can see the nose wheel moving. That is nice. Oh, look at that sound. That's what I'm talking about. Guys, this airplane is very well modeled. Very well modeled. Congratulations, Explain. Alright guys, so now the playing things is gonna stop. I'm gonna try and take off in the most realistic way I know, and let's see if the airplane behaves like it should. Oh my gosh, we can do differential thrust. That is great for turns, you know, for when you need to do differential thrust. You're nailing it, X-Plane, you're nailing it. Congratulations, congratulations. I'm gonna have so much fun with this airplane later. So let's line up here. Runway 33 right at Toronto. Beautiful. And let's stop about there. Good. So, overhead panel. Landing light on. Strobe lights on. Takeoff config test. That is successful. Auto brake max. I don't know how to arm the spoilers. If you know, please tap on the comments because I have no clue how to do that. And let's now do the takeoff and see what happens. Brakes. N1 50%. Brakes off. Toga. SRS, runway, alpha thrust blue. Woohoo! There we go! Damn it, I like it. 80 knots. 100 side sig neutral. It sounds so powerful. The basses are incredible. B1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Nav. Autopilot 1. Well, so far it seems to be working very well. I don't know why it is turning, but it has to do with the flight plan. So let's change to heading mode. Okay, 2000. Thrust levers go to climb. Okay, we have thrust climb. Good. We're still on SRS. We shouldn't be on SRS. Okay, it's trying to join the path from the navigation, but I want to go to heading. Why is it not changing to heading mode? In the real airplane, you would push or pull the knob. I don't know how to do that here. Anyways. 5,000. Nice, guys, nice. Pretty cool. Alt star. 5,000. That is realistic. I've just got to the alpha floor, and so flaps have gone to alpha lock. and the airplane has gone to full power automatically. That is very realistic. I did it on purpose. Great done, X-Plane, great done. Well guys, I have no words but to say that this was modeled in a very realistic way. Congratulations, X-Plane, and expect more tutorials on how to fly this airplane. This is my first time doing it. Like, I waited for you, but actually it's like the second time, but I swear it's just the second. Apart from that, I have absolutely no experience on this airplane in X-Plane. I do fly the headwind simulation A330 on Microsoft Flight Simulator, but that is basically an A320 version adapted to the A330. Anyways, this is all for today, guys. I hope you enjoy the video, and I'm gonna leave you with the replay. Let's see if the replay works, because last time I tried replay on X-Plane, the flight simulator crashed after I had flown for about 5 hours and I lost all that progress. But let's see if it works. And it's not working. You gotta fix that, X-Plane. Oh, it's working! Yes, it's working! Hey, greatly done! Let's look at the takeoff. Nice! Let's now see the takeoff from another perspective, like from the gate. And see how it looks. V1, rotate. Oh, that is so pretty. You can see how I applied a takeoff technique where you just rotate to the maximum angle, avoiding a tail strike, and once you have assured that takeoff, then you pull back a little bit more. Nice. Okay guys, this is everything for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.